Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 6 of What If Naruto Was Created from the God Tree. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Trained by Hashirama before the Chunin exams over on Anime King, and enjoy that guys. And remember, if this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 2 and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. And also stay tuned for a brand new episode coming over Anime King 2. Yes guys, I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button, become part of the Anime King family. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Starts the intro. So the last spot we left off, as Mito was trying to hide away in Naruto's backpack to come along with him on his first mission. As Kushina was worried, she knew that her son was powerful, but she was still worried he was going on his first mission, as she wanted to make sure that he was all packed and all ready. But he was fine, as he said goodbye and said that he would be back. So with that, he made his way. Him and Kakashi made their way towards a nearby village, who had been terrorized by bandits, and some of their female population had been taken, and also some of the village Kunoichi from Netsuko village has been taken as well. So it was basically a joint mission. Arriving there, Naruto and Kakashi met the 2 women from Netsuko village, and also the heir of Netsuko village. Her name was Orihime. She told Naruto she had a little sister as well, who was 3 years old. Her name was Shizuka. So with that, they debark on their mission as Naruto asked her about the custom of her village, as they had to marry someone who they deem worthy. Well, if the person defeat them, if they won, they kill the person. As Naruto didn't understand that relation, it was quite weird, but he did not really say anything about it. He also told them that the bandits are up ahead, as he was able to do some amazing things that shot the girls side. So with that, they embark over to the other side. Kakashi was surprised because, well, someone that was able to survive Minato. Well, the man survived Minato by using his comrades as a shield. His name was War Beast. As Naruto and the others took on the others, as Naruto swiftly defeated the ninjas who thought they had any chance of defeating him. Him and Kakashi made their way as they took on the War Beast, well, mostly Naruto, as he used a fire jutsu to exterminate the man to nothingness. As Kakashi watched Naruto see how he would feel after that kill, but he didn't see much emotions on Naruto's face at all. Afterwards, they said goodbye, as Orihime spoke to him about the future. As Naruto's words were rather cryptic, well, they were not, because he was just speaking his mind, but she thought his words were cryptic. So with that, when they got back home, the Netsuko village wanted to make a formal alliance with Konoha, as Hiruzen was surprised by that, given that the village mostly stay by themselves. But it seems like someone had caught their interest. Well, it was Naruto. So with that, he went home and informed Kushina and Mito about his first mission. He left out the gruesome part, knowing that Mito was too young to hear about something like that. Some time passed after that as Naruto was back in the forest of death, as it was his day off, as he's been having some really bad dreams lately. This time he saw a woman, as she was fighting 2 others as they had horns. Their battle was destructive as they reduced the land to ashes. A massive snake had came in front of him, as he just stared him down. As Naruto did not blink, he just watched the snake, not really doing anything or saying anything. It was then that someone jumped down. The person was surprised that he did not piss himself for already seeing that snake, It was none other than Uncle Midarashi, a young Uncle Midarashi. As she watches Naruto intimidate the snake as the snake returned back to where it was from. As she was rather surprised by that. Well, the kid was definitely something, wasn't he? As she shook his hand, as she thought this was gonna make a wonderful friendship. So yeah guys, it's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the play stick for yourself, and also guys, remember to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Trained by Hashirama before the Chunin exams, and enjoy that guys. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Niking family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say we begin this new episode? Let's get right into it guys. We begin this episode in the forest of death, as Anko was currently behind a tree. She was panting slightly as she waited. She waited for the perfect opportunity. Once she saw the opening, she tossed a kunai straight towards the person behind the tree. Said person saw the kunai coming, but Anko had tossed another one right in the shadow of said kunai. Anko smirked as she waited to hear, but she did not hear anything colliding or anything dropping to the ground in pain like she expected. As she looked around, it was then that she cursed as the ground in front of her broke open. Wooden vines emerged and wrapped her to the tree, tying her down on it. As Anko tried to get free, but she could not, as Naruto appeared in front of her. As Anko looked at him, "Well, I suppose you got me," she said. "Or that is what I would say if you actually got me." As a real Anko appeared behind Naruto, the kunai at his throat, the one that was tied to the tree, exploded in smoke. As Anko smirked, "I got the clone jutsu down," she said. "I'm unstoppable now." "Having a jutsu doesn't mean that you're unstoppable," said Naruto. "Well, I taught you and then died," she said. "Midarashi," said Naruto, "you were the one that told me about the finer arts and forced me into several scenarios where I had to use intellect over raw power. Do you really believe it would be that easy to hold on to me? You should run." Anko was confused by that until she saw him glowing. She leapt away. Shit. Boom! He exploded in a massive explosion. As she landed, the moment she did, her hands were bound behind her. The tree that she was on literally came alive and bound her, as she cursed this time, not being a clone. As Naruto arrived and poked her in the forehead. "Bitch," she said. "You still insult me with such foul language, even though you have lost. You're a rather sore loser. Has anyone told you that before?" "Yeah, countless times." "Now release me," she said. "I think I will keep you there." "What?" "For your foul language," said Naruto, as he raised his hand as the tree started to rise, as Anko was pulled up into mid-air. "You little shit! Wait until I get down from here!" As Naruto picked up her kunai and tossed it, it stabbed inside the tree. "There is something that you can use," he said, as he sat down on the ground. It didn't take too long, as she cut herself by using the kunai and rubbing the bark against it, and it broke, while Naruto lessened the chakra in the bark so that it would break. As she landed beside him, she sat down. "A hell of a workout," she said. "But you're still an asshole, always winning." "I am presume an asshole because I'm winning," said Naruto. "Yes," said Anko. "You never cease to amaze me with your logic," said Naruto. "And you never cease to amaze me with acting like a robot." "Am I?" Naruto asked. "Well, yeah, sometimes," she said. "But I guess you're getting better. But don't worry, I'll be here to teach you everything. After all, we started your course so far, and you're coming along well." "I do not need your teaching in how to act," said Naruto. "I've studied quite a lot, thank you." "Well, I'm still gonna teach you," she said. "After all, we are friends, aren't we?" "Yes, you're right about that," said Naruto. In the short time that he has known Anko, they had become good friends. Anko was still a genin. She told him that because of certain circumstances she wasn't able to take the Chunin test that passed recently. That wasn't at Konoha, but there was another one coming up very soon. As she never explained what these circumstances were. As Naruto got to his feet, he had to go and see Itachi. "Hey, Where are you going? I have to go and see Itachi. Oh yeah, the Uchiha kid. You said that he lost his entire squad. And he was the only one that survived. How is he coming along, Uncle asks. As she had heard about the massacre of Itachi's squad, as he was the only one that made it out alive by some unknown foe. Luckily, there was people standby to back up Itachi, and when they arrived, they were able to chase off the person that slaughtered her squad, or perhaps the person left. But it was a rather dangerous person, and up until now they didn't know who it was. The only thing that Itachi could give them was that the person was wearing a mask, as he wasn't sure who it was. Itachi was assuring to take part in the upcoming Chunin exams, but because of the loss of his teammate perhaps, they will have to just give him a field promotion, as he wasn't able to go and take the exams now. His team, well, they were gone. Sensei and teammates. Itachi is a rather unique person, said Naruto. Sometimes, he thinks that it's best for him to mask his emotions, and when he feels like he's ready, he will let them out. But he's coming along well, said Naruto, although the death of his team has helped him to progress even further, to get stronger to find this person that killed them. Huh? Said Uncle. He has awakened his family famed dojutsu, said Naruto. I will be off. We will meet up again very soon. When? Uncle asks. Perhaps tomorrow. As he waved his hand and went off. Once he was gone, she sighed as she leaned back in the tree trunk. Now she had nothing to do. She had her goal and her dream, as she was going to become the head interrogator. And no one will stop her dream and goal. As she pulled on her shirt though, showing that nasty mark on her neck. The reason why she couldn't participate in Chunin exams that passed was because of this. It was uncontrollable at the time, and seeing that she had just returned after it happened, there wasn't any possibility of that happening. And since then, people have started to hate her. They call her a monster, a snake bitch. That she was working in cahoots with Orochimaru, even though she was a victim, they treated her like a monster. As most people stopped being her friends. She had a few friends, but she could literally count them on her fingers. So spending time with Naruto was something that gave her joy. At the moment, she was on standby, as she had no team. But if a team was need to be filled or need an extra man, she was the one to tag along with them, until she became a Chunin that would not change. As the people in the village doesn't like her real that much, even though it was not her fault, it angered her a lot. But she had her little friend Naruto, as he was a rather kind person even though he acted like a robot. And he didn't seem to mind, although she didn't know if he knew about her curse mark. Perhaps if he knew, he would stop talking to her. As she wasn't sure that he told anyone about their relationship, that they were friends, after all they only met up in the Forest of Death. So she wasn't sure about it. She shrugged as she leaned back. She tried not to let it bother her, but it really did. Perhaps the Hokage will allow her to take part in his upcoming Chunin exams. She chuckled. Like hell he would. She didn't have a team or a sensei, so he wouldn't allow that. Meanwhile, as Naruto arrived towards the compound, as he was invited in by Mikoto. Ah, Naruto-kun, she said, that smile on her face. You've been so busy on missions lately. I rarely see you. Yes, it has been quite hectic. But how are things with you, he asks. Oh, I'm doing just fine. What about you, she said. I cannot complain, said Naruto. I have a new friend. Huh? Who is that, she asks. I met her in the Forest of Death. Her name is Anko Midarashi. Mikoto's eyes narrowed for a slight second. Have you told your mother about her? Yes, of course, said Naruto. Did she say anything? No. She just told me to be nice and respectful, as I usually am. Oh, okay, she said. Is there something wrong, said Naruto. For a second there, I sensed your hesitation. Is there something I should know? Well, not really, she said. But Anko, she's a nice girl, and she would make an excellent friend. Yes, she has been, said Naruto, as Itachi came down the stairs, followed by Sasuke who was on his back. As Naruto got up to his feet, seeing Naruto, Sasuke slowly detach himself from Itachi, as he crawled around the sofa, before he climbed and leaped forward. Surprise attack, he said, just like Mito. as Naruto caught his fist, before holding him up by one hand. As he brought his foot forward as Naruto caught it, Naruto flipped him as he spun in mid-air, before Naruto caught him by both of his arms and placed him down on the couch, as Sasuke looked dazzled, as Mikoto chuckled a bit. This was an occurrence. Mito had proven that her brother was the strongest, saying that he was stronger than Itachi by far, but Sasuke was against that claim, so he had made it his goal to defeat Naruto, and show Mito that if he defeated Naruto, that means his brother was the best out of all ninjas. So he had recently started to attack Naruto over and over again, but all of his attempts were fouled by Naruto, who kept on spinning him around, or throwing him up in the air and catching him back. "I'll get you one of these days," said Sasuke. "Big brother, can I come?" "Maybe later, Sasuke," said Itachi as he poked Sasuke in the forehead as he frowned. "Come on now, Sasuke. Let your big brother be with his friend. How about I get you something to eat?" "Yeah, sure," he says he got to his feet. As Naruto and Itachi walk to their usual spot in front of the Naka River. "How are you doing?" said Naruto. "I'm doing just fine. How about you?" "You can hide your emotions well from others," said Naruto, "but not me." "You're lying." "Well, things have been different. But I'm coping." "Yes, I can see that," said Naruto. "I will help you find this individual, and I will hand him over to you to do as you please." "Where will you even start looking?" "I do not know," said Naruto. "But he can't run away forever, and unless someone else kills him, I'm sure that we will be able to find him. We have many years ahead of us. In this ninja world, you can't just say things like that. The world's a dangerous place, Naruto." "Yes, I know that," said Naruto, "but I will not die, or let anyone around me die, if I have anything to say about it." "Huh, that is quite optimistic." "Yes, I know," said Naruto, "but I feel I can do something about it." "What do you mean?" "Each day I get stronger," said Naruto. "The power that is currently inside of me is growing, little by little, and I can feel it. But with this power, it's nightmare." "What do you mean?" Itachi asks. "Recently, I've been having a dream about a woman. I haven't told my mother about this because I do not want her to worry. You're the first one I'm telling about this. She has white pale eyes like Byakugan's, but hers are more white. She has horns on her head." "Horns?" said Itachi. "Yes, and she's wearing a kimono, a white one. Her arms are not visible. I feel this attraction to her. I don't know exactly what this, but if I should compare it to something, it feels like loyalty. Like I need to protect her. Yet, she's out of my grasp. I don't know where she is." "Maybe it's just a bad dream," Itachi said. "No, it is not." "What do you mean?" "I've been having it ever since I became a genin. And every night it's getting worse. The battles are getting worse." "What do you mean?" "She's fighting two persons. I have not seen their face clearly, but they have horns as well. Their skins are pale, and their eyes. One of their eyes are rather unique." "Unique how?" "It's a strange shape, with strange patterns in it." "Well, that's something not normal," Itachi said. "But you're not exactly normal yourself, Naruto." "Yes, I know that," said Naruto. "But I feel that there's something bigger than what I'm supposed to do." "What do you mean?" "I'm not sure yet. I guess I'll have to find out." "Don't push yourself too hard," Itachi said. "And don't do anything reckless." "Do not worry, I shall not. I need your help as well." "With what?" "You shall become friends with Uncle Midarashi." "Huh? Why?" "She's hurting." "She's hurting?" "I feel like she doesn't want to tell me. I can feel it whenever she thinks about telling me." Then she paused. "I don't know the reason, but she's hurting. A lot. She doesn't have a lot of friends. I don't even know how she spends her time in the village because we just meet in the forest of death. But she's a good person." "You haven't heard," Itachi said. "Heard about what?" "Well, Figures, Itachi said. Considering that you've been on missions a lot lately, and not to mention, you wouldn't have been told this in the academy, but I have been out here hearing what is going on. Orochimaru of the Sannin became a traitor to our village. Yes, I know about him, said Naruto. What does he have to do with this? Uncle Midarashi was his apprentice. And, said Naruto. Well, as Itachi stepped forward, I'm not supposed to tell you this. Orochimaru stole a lot of kids in his escape, babies, to experiment on them. And he escaped the village. And he had took Uncle with him. And he had branded her with a strange, curse mark that not even Jiraiya the Sannin is able to remove. So people believe that she is somehow colluding with him. I'm confused. Isn't she the victim? Yes. But people hate what they can't understand, Naruto. And they don't understand her mark and they're afraid. Ah. I understand her feelings now, said Naruto. What should I do? I don't think you can do anything. Just continue being her friend. I suppose that is good enough. As Naruto nodded, time skip. As Uncle blinked several times. What? Yes. I would like you to come to my house for dinner. As she looked at him nervously. Really? I mean, we barely know each other. We've been speaking to each other for the last 2 months. Why do you hesitate, he asks. Well, it's just, Uncle didn't want to lose her friend. After all, most people in his village hate her. As Uncle wasn't well in tune with the talks of the village. As she mostly stayed by herself given the recent events. And not to mention, no one really speak about the Kyuubi that often, so she did not know. But what if his mother hated her? That means their friendship would be over. I don't think I can, she said. It's alright though, I'm fine. As she had lost her parents when she was younger. She had moved out of the orphanage a long time ago. And she had her own place. But the thing was not going on so much missions and being only a genin. And she can only do D-rank missions around the village. D-rank doesn't really pay that much. And she can't do that much at once. So sometimes she don't really, well, eat properly. And not to mention, it's been a very long time since she had a warm meal. Given the fact that she can't really cook that well. She can cook but nothing too extravagant. I insist, said Naruto. If you're worried about my mother not liking you, I assure you, she told me to be friends with you. And not to mention, to be polite as always. You told your mother about me? Yes, said Naruto. And she told you that? Naruto stepped forward. As Uncle paused. Hey, what are you... As he got really close. He then reached up as he was about to move her clothing, but she grabbed his hand as she realized what he was about to do. Who told you, she asked. Itachi, said Naruto. So you know. I guess you think that... No. Don't finish your sentence, said Naruto. I don't understand why people are blaming the victim. And that is exactly what you are, a victim. Uncle looked up at him shocked. May I say it, he asked. As she hesitated, but she felt like she could trust him, so she reached and removed the shirt that she was wearing, pulling down the high collar clothing as she showed him the mark. As Naruto saw it, Kushina had just started teaching him info in jutsu, but Naruto had a photographic memory and he consumed knowledge like that. I will get rid of it soon enough, said Naruto. Uncle paused before she started to chuckle. Huh, that's funny, she said, but I've long since given up hope. Jiraiya the Sannin cannot remove it, so I doubt that you can. I will accept this as a challenge, said Naruto. Now come. Uncle nodded as she followed behind him. She was nervous as hell. As they made their way through the streets, it's the first time she's been walking through the streets with him as they usually just went up the forest of death. The moment they were walking through the streets, Naruto felt it. The anger. The fright. As people were looking their way. Uncle paid them no mind. As she turned her gaze away, not even looking at them. It was then that she felt it. A sensation that had her shaking. As she turned towards Naruto. As Naruto's glare was heated towards the people, people started to back away and turn their head rather quickly as they felt a sensation that scared them. As they gulped and looked away. As Naruto kept on walking, the sensation vanished so instantly. "What was that?" said Uncle. "My chakra is darker than most," said Naruto. "Let us go." As he finally arrived to said house. The moment he arrived towards the door, it was swung open rather quickly. As Mito will leap, as Naruto caught her in his arms. "Big brother, you're back," she said, as she had a big goofy smile on her face. "Yes, I'm back," said Naruto. Uncle looked at the girl. She heard that he had a sister, well, he told her many times. And he always speak fondly of her. Mito paused. "Hey, who are you?" she said. "Oh, my name is Uncle." "Hey, are you my brother's girlfriend?" "Where did you learn that word from?" said Naruto. "My friend Ino and I were talking, and she told me. We both saw teenagers in the park and she said that they're boyfriend and girlfriend because they're together, whatever that means. So are you that to my brother?" "Yes, I suppose," said Naruto. Uncle froze, as Naruto didn't seem to understand what she was trying to say. "She's a girl and she's my friend." Exactly. He didn't really understand. As Mito looked her over. "You better treat him nice, or I'll punch you," she said, as Uncle was taken aback by the girl's attitude. "Mito, what have I told you about threatening to beat people up?" "Not to." "So what do you say?" "I apologize." As Uncle simply nodded. As Naruto started to bring Mito in, as she glanced over Naruto's shoulder and raised her fist, shaking it at Uncle, as she made her threat known. As they arrived in said house, as Uncle glanced around, it was a lot better than her place. "Ah, you're back, and I see that you brought her along. It's about time that we formally met. Naruto, why don't you go and set the plates? Uncle, you come with me." Uncle was nervous as Naruto walked off, leaving her with his mother as both of them made their way. Uncle didn't know why but this woman. Did she know her? Her appearance seemed so familiar. As the both of them made their way towards the kitchen, as she seemed to be done cooking. "So, how are you and my son getting along?" "Oh, we're getting along quite well. He's my friend. If you're okay with that." "Uncle, I know about what happened to you. And Naruto found out last night. He knew that something was wrong, but he respected your privacy not to ask. Trust me, I do not really care about that. You're just a victim. Some of these villagers are just ignorant." "Yeah, you can say that again." "You're welcome here anytime. And Naruto has really taken a liking to you." "Yeah," Uncle said. "I like him as well." "Wait, I don't mean like," as Kushina chuckled. "It's quite alright," she said. "I hope you're hungry." As Uncle smelled the food, once Kushina opened the lid, as her mouth literally started to water. It's been so long since she had a good cooked meal. As Kushina noticed the girl, she was rather slender at most points. Meanwhile, that was going on, as Fukaku and Kakashi was currently in the Hokage's office. Fukaku knew about Naruto's condition. It was a matter of time before he found out, seeing that Naruto and Itachi trained many times together. As Naruto figured that there was no problem in telling him, seeing that the man was Itachi's father and all. So, well, he was still shocked, as he couldn't really understand, but it was a secret. As most people did not know, and they did not need to know. But still, to believe that the boy was created from a tree, that made absolutely no sense. Now that would explain his absolute perfect chakra control, and how he had such power that didn't really make sense. I have called the both of you here because of the upcoming Chunin exams that will be resided in Kiri. Is there any team that will be coming from Konoha this year? Asked Kakashi. Well, I wanted to send Itachi and his team, but given the recently tragic event, Itachi is the only one left now, and he's been put on standby. But once he becomes a Chunin, he will be able to take part in missions and choose for himself as well. But I want to send him along with Naruto. Neither man objected because they knew that Naruto was ready for this, as he had seen him in action, both of them. And who will be the third member? Uncle Midarashi. This will be the perfect opportunity for her to get promoted to Chunin after showing off her skills. I believe that she's ready for it. As Kakashi remember Orochimaru and what he did to that girl, as Naruto and her were friends, as he had saw them once when he had visited Naruto in the Forest of Death. As Naruto did not care about certain things like that, but Kakashi doubted that he knew what was going on. If he did, he wouldn't mention it one bit. That was just how he was. Are you sure that she'll be able to keep up with those two? Well, as a matter of fact, Naruto and her has become quite good friends, so that worked in our favor, and I'm sure that she and Itachi will get along as well. She's a nice girl. She's just been dealt a rough hand in life. The 4th Mizukage Yagura has sent a decree to our village and several others, asking us to take part in Chunin exams. At the moment, these 3 are the only Chunin's hopeful that I believe that are ready to take part in the exam. You know how this will look, right? Said Fukaku, with us only sending one team and many other teams being there. Yes, it will look like we're trying to impose our strength upon them, showing that Konoha is still number 1. But given recent events, I think this is a must. Hiruzen had spoken to the Raikage by letters. The man was caught hook, line and sinker, and he had sent a quite hefty sum to pay for all the damages that he might have caused in his little invasion. Usually this would send nations to war, but Hiruzen was a peaceful man and he wanted to calm the situation. And the Raikage did not want to invoke the wrath of Konoha. Even though many ninjas lost their life in the attack of the Kyuubi, they still had the Uchihas, the Hyugas, and several other clans, and not to mention Hiruzen himself. He didn't want to tamper with that. It was too much at the moment. He messed up. But the man refused to send an apology. His pride would not let him. Hiruzen had let it go. Although, the council has been rather angry about that he let it go so easily. But war was a dangerous thing, and he didn't want any war. As of this moment, the other nations believed that Konoha was weak, because they were not really taking charge as they used to. So this was a good opportunity to show the other nations that Konoha is still number 1, and Naruto would be a big help in that. And Itachi, the young prodigy that he was, and not to mention Uncle, was not a normal genin either. Despite Orochimaru using the girl, he had trained her, and she was quite dangerous. As the 2 men seem to get along with this idea as they seem reasonable. Time skip. Anko arrived to Team 7, training ground where she was summoned. Upon arriving there, she saw Itachi as he was sitting down waiting. She hasn't really talked to him. They never really spoken before. They were just in 2 different classes. Him being an heir to the Uchiha clan, and her well being an orphan and really nobody. Not to mention with a certain hate that was on her name. Although she was happy than before, saying that she had a wonderful meal and she made some new friends. Well, Kushina was a grown woman, but she was kind, almost like a mother figure. And Mito was sweet, only she was a bit protective over her older brother and willing to fight anyone that dare say anything bad about him. As Anko thought that it was sweet. As Itachi saw her, "Ah, I see that you were summoned as well," he said, as he already figured out the reason. "Huh? Why are we here?" she asked. "I believe this has to do with the Chunin exams." Anko's eyes widened. As she had spoken to the Hokage recently, he said that he would try to do something about it. A big smile came on her face as she couldn't keep in her excitement. If she became a Chunin, she would be able to take missions by herself, and not to mention, join other Chunin teams without having to wait for requests. This was awesome. "Hey, is it just me and you?" "I don't think so. We have one more person to wait on." "Who do you think it... Wait, do you think it's Naruto?" "I mean, he's only been a genin for at least 2 months. I doubt that he will let him go along so quickly. I mean, he is powerful for a genin, but..." "Don't worry, it is him." "What? How do you know?" "Naruto is a lot stronger than you believe." As Uncle looked at him, the way he said that, the confidence that was in his tone, it made her believe that he was telling the truth. Well, Naruto has bested her, even though he's been a genin for 2 months. So yeah, she wouldn't count him out. He was one of those special prodigies. As they saw Naruto coming along with Kakashi, as Kakashi's eyes smiled towards the others, I see you're both here. Hey, why are we here? As Uncle wanted to hear it from his mouth. Well, you have been nominated to take part in the Chunin exams. And I will be your sensei from here on. Really? As Uncle's smile was large. As she couldn't help it as she glanced towards Naruto. And he was actually here. At least she would have someone to talk to, her friend. Maybe she could get along with the Uchiha. Maybe. She didn't know yet. Will we be the only team that will be taking part in the Chunin exam this year? Asked Itachi. Yes. Wouldn't that look like a disrespect to the other nations? Itachi said once again. Kakashi looked at the boy. Naruto might be smart, and he might copy information quickly, but Itachi was a born genius, and it helped to balance them out. Seeing that he came up with this even after just a few seconds of thinking it over. Yes, that is correct. But that is why we're here, for that special reason. You all have been chosen because you have shown to be quite reverse and diverse in your different ninja skills. And not to mention you are far above genuine level. All of you, he said. As Uncle smirked contently at that, a bit cocky if she might add. So we are to humiliate the other team, said Naruto. Well, not exactly, but do your best, Kakashi said. Humiliate them then, said Naruto once again. I didn't say that, said Kakashi. Usually, you say one thing and yet you mean the other, said Naruto. So I will go on humiliation. Itachi, keep an eye out for Naruto, said Kakashi, because I did not say humiliate anyone. It's hard to change his mind when you put him up to something. But I didn't put him up to anything, Kakashi said. Well, Sensei, you did say it, said Uncle. As Kakashi sighed, they were already turning against him. Time skip. Chunin exams already? Said Kushina as she looked towards Mikoto, as Naruto had informed her. And Mikoto had came over to speak to her about it. Their kids were going to take part in Chunin exams. Well, Kushina, they're special kids. I mean, Itachi is already advanced to another level, despite him just being a genin. And Naruto, well, we both know that he is special than a lot of people. Yeah, I guess you're right. You're worried, aren't you? Look, I was okay with him taking his first mission. Bit worried but okay, but this is different. I mean, this is the Chunin exams, and then they're gonna be all out there alone. And Uncle, I'm worried about her as well. You're getting along well with her. She's a nice girl, she was just dealt a bad hand. Yeah, I guess you're right there. But I'm sure everything's gonna work out. I wouldn't be surprised if they all won this exam and come out on top as Chunins. After all, you have to admit, when it comes to power and skills, and not to mention intellect, who is better than Naruto and Itachi? Yeah, I guess you're right about that. And Uncle also have a knack for infiltration, and not to mention espionage. So they're like the perfect team, Mikoto said. There's nothing to worry about. Something broke as both women turned their head, as they saw Sasuke colliding in the wall. Sasuke got up on his small chubby legs as he rushed forward down the hall. Both women sighed as Mito and Sasuke launched themselves toward each other, once again fighting. Meanwhile, at Kumo, there was a blonde woman that stood in the office. Well, she seemed to be a bit older than Naruto and Itachi, but she wasn't that older. She was in her mid-teens. There was two persons beside her. On her left, there was a girl with blonde hair as well, as the boy on the left also had blonde hair, as they seemed to be the same age, a bit younger than the blonde in the middle. You three will be taking part in the exams, as well as two other teams. You three have shown great skills in your arts that you have taken apart so far. So, I'm expecting a win out of all of you. Yujito. The blonde in the middle nodded. See, as the guy over to the left nodded. Samui, as the other blonde nodded. I want you to show the other nations that are there to watch the exam that Kumo strength is unrivaled. Do you understand me? Yes, Raikage-sama, they all said. And also, I've heard that Konoha will be sending one team They have agreed to send only one team. Out of all the other nations, they're the only one that they sent in one. It seems they're still boasting about their strength. I want you to see what this special team can do and how strong they are. And come back and give me a report on their skills. As all three of them nodded, you two leave. Yujito, remain. As the other two left, Yujito, if this Konoha team proved to be too troublesome, and you know what I mean, I want you to eliminate them. Sir? Yes, get rid of them. I'm sure Kira will have a point that will have all of you tussle against each other, or perhaps you might fight them in the finals. I would task the other two to do this as well, but they're just not as strong as you. Do you understand? As she nodded. Yes sir, she said. Alright, you're dismissed. Get ready. And make sure to show the strength of Kumo. She nodded as she left. The Raikage sat there. Konoha has not done anything because he refused to apologize. They talked big, but they did not do anything to him. He had to pay for what his ninja had done, but still, he would not stoop so low to apologize. And Konoha had not done anything about it yet. So he wanted to see how far he could push them, to see how much their strength has wavered, and Yujito would be his best candidate. She has trained for years to master that power that was inside of her, and she was coming along nicely. Meanwhile, at Kiri, Yagura leaped his head up from his desk as he looked around, panting as he had placed his head down for a short nap. Yagura, the fourth Mizukage. Something was happening to him. He has not spoken to anyone about this yet, but something was happening that he could not deny. Recently, he has been getting thoughts of the bloodline clans in Kira betraying him, and his mind was telling him to get rid of them before it was too late, before they got rid of him. But they wouldn't do that. He was their Mizukage. But the more time he spent around them, the more he saw the changes. The more they gave him dirty looks, the more he realized they were out to get him. He slapped his head rather hard as he snapped back into focus. He gripped the side of his head in a bit of pain. His mind was getting conflicted. He had kept it at bay. It started over a month ago, and he didn't know what the cause was. But whatever it is, he couldn't stop it. These thoughts, he hated them. It made him want to purge his own village of the bloodline clans. But the clans were what made up the strength of his village. He couldn't do that. But the thought of them attacking him the sleepless nights, he couldn't take it. He took several deep breaths as he made his way over towards his cabinet and pulled out 2 pills and took them, so he wouldn't have to sleep. As he sat back down, he had to have a calm, focused mind. The exam was coming around, and he had to show that the strength of Kiri has not wavered, and they have gotten only stronger. Yes, he had to show the nation that, as there were several finalists that would be taking part in the exam that would show how powerful Kiri actually was. Konoha, though, he was surprised that they were only sending one team. They were trying to boast their strength as usual. Well, he would like to see what this team was made of. The Hidden Stone was rather silent about this whole affair. Well, given that they were weak after losing so much ninjas at the hands of Minato Namikaze, well, they wouldn't be talking that much. He supposed it was normal. As he turned and looked out on his village, as he could already see the people rolling in to see the exam, as people were taking boats to make their way towards Kira to take part and see the exams. Time skip. After saying goodbye, and Mito making him promise that he'll be fine, Naruto made his way as he met up with his team. So with that, they made their way. So, what is it like? Said Naruto. Huh? Said Kakashi. Kiri, said Naruto. Oh, Kiri. Well, Miss, said Naruto. Yes, it's full of mist. The entire place is. It's rather hard to see. Most Kiri shinobis have been trained in the art of silent killing, so it's good for them to use at their advantage. And they enhance it by the hidden mist jutsu, Itachi said. You know about that, said Kakashi. Yes. We ran into a few Kiri shinobis, and before we could sort things out, well, They had activated that jutsu thinking that we were the enemy, but in fact we were not. We did not join together on the mission because they did not trust us, nor did we trust them, said Itachi. Oh, well I can understand that. We have never been too civil with Kiri, considering that they helped destroy the Uzumaki clan. I don't think that we should. Kakashi paused. He glanced towards Naruto. You know about that? Yes, said Naruto. Naruto, I hope you're not planning to do anything that will, well, cause the village in unnecessary trouble. What do you mean, said Naruto? Well, considering that Kushina is your mother, and all. I'm fine, said Naruto. Yes, I know you're fine. I'm just wondering if you can let the people be fine there. You think I'll attack them for what they did to those Makis? Well, sometimes you make your own laws. After all, we have been on a few missions together, he said. Yes, you're right about that. But I understand the necessity of not causing a problem between Kira and Konoha. War is a dangerous thing, I've been told many times before, and I don't wish for it to happen again. So, you can fear nothing from me. Well, as long as it is in the grounds of the exam. I'm sure everything will be fine, said Kakashi. As Anko glanced towards Naruto, she could understand what Kakashi was saying. Sometimes you just could not predict what Naruto was thinking. And not to mention the way he acted made it seem quite strange. But when you got to talk to him, you understand that he wasn't that different or strange. He was just different, a bit. So with that, they continued to move. Until Naruto paused. What's wrong? I sense great feelings coming from that area. Land of Wave, said Itachi as he glanced down towards the area. What do you feel? He asked. A lot of emotions, mostly sadness, from a large population. You can sense them? From that far, Uncle asked. Yes, I'm quite a good sensor. Huh. You mean one of the best, Itachi said. As he had never seen anyone with Naruto's sensory ability before, he could not only sense someone, he could tell what you were feeling. So it was incredibly hard to lie to him. What should we do? Asked Uncle. Nothing, said Kakashi. I don't know what is going on there, but the place has been isolated ever since. So this is not our problem, let us go. As Naruto turned and started to move off. As that was something about him when certain things did not bother him. Well, he did not let them bother him after all. It wasn't his problem. So with that, they continued to move until they got on the boat. As they took the boat ride, it took them a very long while. After that, they had to take another boat. As they moved once again through the sea. As Uncle threw up at least 3 times. She didn't like the sea. She didn't like it one bit. Itachi was calm as usual, but even he didn't like the sea, given the look on his face. But he was able to keep it on the wrap. On the other hand, Naruto's eyes were closed, as he just sat there, feeling the cool breeze. But that is not all he felt. When he was in a state of calm like this, he could feel the world around him. He could literally feel the world, and he could feel where he stands. But not only that, he could feel strong powers around the world. One of them were towards Konoha direction. Strangely enough, one of them were where he was currently going at the moment. And there was another one coming towards where he was going, Kiri. Kakashi, said Naruto. Kakashi looked up from his book. There isn't that much information, so can you fill me in about the Jinchuriki of Kiri? Ah, the Jinchuriki of Kiri. Well, it is the Mizukage. It is said that he has perfect control over his Beiju, and he's able to control the power. What do you ask? I can feel the power, said Naruto. From here? As Naruto nodded, always amazed Kakashi to how depth Naruto's sensory ability was. For him to sense the power of a Jinchuriki from here, that was astonishing. Naruto was truly something. And he was still a kid. Imagine how much powerful he would be when he has grown. As Kakashi stood there, as he wasn't surprised by this point, as Naruto has done some amazing things while they were on missions, so he wasn't surprised at all. There's another Jinchuriki coming. As Kakashi looked towards him, what? Yes, from that location. As Kakashi glanced where Naruto was pointing, that was from Kumo's location. Can you feel the sort of power that this Jinchuriki holds? Not precisely, but it's a bit weaker than The one that the Mizukage possess. The Mizukage possess the 3 tails. So if my assumption is right, that means the 2 tail is also coming. Because the 1 tail is currently residing in the sand. Would you be able to identify this person? Asked Kakashi. Yes, once they're close enough, said Naruto. As Kakashi nodded, as not every village knew about the village Jinchuriki, he didn't know how this would help, but it would definitely help. As Anko groaned as Naruto walked over towards her. I'm dying, she said. You're fine, said Naruto. No, I'm seriously dying. Go ahead. Throw me overboard and put me out of my misery. I can't take it anymore. As Naruto picked her up in his arms, Anko eyes widened. Hey, I'm just kidding. As she felt a strange sensation. What are you doing? My body is made of chakra, said Naruto. It will stabilize your feeling. As Naruto was holding her in his arm, Itachi and Kakashi glanced towards the scene. As Naruto didn't seem to be uncomfortable one bit, but Anko's cheeks were red. Because he was so close to her, not to mention the way he held her. One hand was wrapped around her waist, as it was tightly secured, and not to mention his face was so close to hers. But she felt a sensation that made her so calm. Whoa. It was amazing. What was he saying about his body made from chalk? She couldn't even think about that anymore. The sensation was beyond amazing as she relished in his touch. All the feeling of puking and sickness just vanished, and she felt so calm. It was like her very being was emerging from her body like a flower and spreading throughout the world like he was flying. That was when he put her down. The sensation slowly started to fade, but it was still there. What did you do? As Naruto glanced towards Itachi. No, said Itachi as he closed back his eye. As Kakashi started to laugh. I do not have to hold you, said Naruto. I can merely do this. As he poked Itachi in the forehead, just like how he did with Sasuke. As Itachi felt it, the sensation was calming. He felt like he was leaving his entire being behind. What the hell was this? Until Naruto moved his hand. As Itachi glanced towards Naruto, the sensation was abnormal. Did you feel it too? Asked Anko. As Naruto went over to sit down. Yes, said Itachi. It felt like I was leaving my body. Yeah. What the hell was that? The both of them glanced towards Naruto as he saw his eyes close, as he returned back to where he was sitting. Well, seems like he's not going to fully explain, Itachi said. As he felt a lot better than before. But guys, be subscribed right here. For what's the next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to be posted. But I'm moving out. See you guys soon. Peace.